China has said that it is deeply worried about the escalation of the Ukraine conflict and its possibility of getting out of control. China's foreign minister made the remarks at a government event. He also made an apparent reference to West, saying that certain nations should stop adding fuel to the fire. He also said that these nations must also stop hyping up Ukraine today and Taiwan tomorrow. Apart from this, the foreign minister said that Beijing will work with the international community to promote dialogue and consultation as well as common security. Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen has said that the country is strengthening its military ties with the United States of America. She told visiting U.S. lawmakers that the self-ruled island will cooperate closely with U.S. and other friendly nations to deal with authoritarianism and expansionism. The United States has no formal diplomatic ties with Chinese-claimed Taiwan, but is the island's most important international backer and arms supplier. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko on Monday said that he had ordered the formation of a new volunteer territorial defense force. The president said that the force is being formed so that everyone knows how to handle weapons and be ready to respond to an act of aggression and keep public order in peace. Country's defense minister said that the territorial defense force will have around 100,000 to 150,000 volunteers or more if needed. The paramilitary formation will ideally be in every village and town. A suspect linked to the killing of auxiliary Bishop David OConnell in Los Angeles was arrested on Monday. The police said that the suspect is the husband of the bishop's housekeeper and had previously worked at his residence. 2 firearms were discovered during a search operation at his home, but according to the forensic tests, are yet to link the guns to Bishop's murder.
Every day he worked to show compassion.
Another earthquake struck the border region of Turkey and Syria on Monday. 6.3 magnitude quake killed at least 3 people and injured more than 200. The epicenter of this quake was Samandang district in Hatay and was felt in Syria, Egypt and Lebanon. Turkey's disaster management agency said that 3 tremors, one of 5.8 magnitude and 2 of 5.2, were felt minutes after the quake. Rescue and relief operations have begun around the area. This comes just 2 weeks after the area was devastated by a larger quake. Humanitarian aid reached quake-stricken residents living in the rebel-held northwestern Syria on Monday. The aid came 2 days after the head of the World Food Programme pressurized authorities in northwestern Syria to stop blocking access to the area. More than 47,000 people have been killed in earthquakes that struck Turkey and Syria. The toll is expected to go higher as many still remain missing in the country's worst modern disaster. Syrian president visited Oman on Monday. This is his first foreign trip since the deadly earthquake and a sign of easing isolation after nearly 12 years of civil war. He met with Oman's ruling sultan, who said that he looked forward to see Syria's ties getting normal with all Arab countries. Back in 2012, Oman withdrew its ambassador to Syria as other Gulf states shut their missions in the country in response to the Damascus government's crackdown on anti-government demonstrations. Israel's parliament on Monday voted to push ahead with the contentious judicial reforms. The Knesset passed the first reading of the first bill of the legislation by a vote in which 63 were in favor while 47 were against. Opposition in parliament vowed to fight for the soul of the nation. Tens of thousands of Israelis gathered in the streets outside, trumpeting their objection, wielding 64 of the Knesset's 120 seats. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu look likely to win eventual ratification for the two revisions on the agenda. These relate to increasing the government's sway in choosing judges and setting limits to the Supreme Court's ability to strike down legislation.
ישראל כאן העם היהודי בה עוצבה דמותו הרוחנית.
The UN Security Council on Monday denounced Israel's plan to expand settlements on West Bank. This is the first action that the United States has allowed the body to take against its ally in 6 years. Washington's support came after the United Arab Emirates said that it would not put a stronger draft resolution on the issue to a vote. The move could have prompted a US veto. The condemnation comes after Israel on 12th of February granted retroactive authorization to 9 settler outposts that had been erected without government's approval. The United States proposed on Monday that the United Nations Security Council should condemn North Korea's ballistic missile launches. It also sought the Council to encourage Pyongyang to engage in diplomacy. It warned that the 15-member body's failure to respond had become dangerous. After the Security Council meeting, 2/3 of the body's members and South Korea issued a joint statement in which they condemned the missile tests. US President Joe Biden landed in the Polish capital Warsaw on Monday after making a surprise visit to Ukraine. Biden was greeted by a delegation that included top officials like Secretary of State, US Ambassador to Poland. Biden is due to meet with Polish President as well and top Central European officials during his visit. The visit comes as the country sees greater presence of US troops on its territory. US President Joe Biden promised new military aid for Ukraine worth $500 million during a surprise visit to Kyiv. His visit comes days before Russia-Ukraine conflict enters its second year. Biden also said that the sanctions would be announced this week against the Russian elite and companies backing the Russian war. The military aid package will include artillery, ammunition, anti-armor systems and air surveillance radars. Biden further promised support to Ukraine, saying freedom is priceless. It is worth fighting for as long as it takes. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met with International Monetary Fund chief on Monday at the presidential palace in Kyiv. During the meeting, she told Zelensky that Ukraine and its government were functioning well amid the war with Russia. While Zelensky said that the IMF support creates an opportunity for Ukraine to remain strong. He termed the support as a weapon that allows Kyiv's society and businesses to grow. The meeting came hours after US President Joe Biden departed the country following a surprise visit to Kyiv. Ships from China and Russia arrived in South Africa on Monday as the three nations will soon be holding joint naval exercises. The world powers are vying for influence in Africa as global tensions deepen. This is because of both the war in Ukraine and an increasingly aggressive Chinese posture towards self-ruled Taiwan. South Africa calls the drills routine, but some South Africa-based diplomats, all from EU or NATO, have condemned them. Experts say that hosting the 10-day exercise, which coincides with 1-year anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, is a risky affair. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with Greek Prime Minister in Athens on Monday. The top U.S. diplomats are on a two-day visit to the country where he will discuss regional defense and energy security issues. Blinken, who flew in from Turkey, discussed Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the support it has received by allies on the first day of his visit. He also spoke on the values of democracy. Blinken will be launching the fourth round of the U.S.-Greece strategic dialogue on Tuesday in talks with Greek foreign minister.
Here also to inaugurate the fourth strategic dialogue.
An explosion tore through an Ohio metals plant on Monday. Molten metal and other debris fell down on neighboring buildings due to the explosion. At least 14 people were injured due to the incident. The plant is located at about 24 kilometers southeast of American city of Cleveland. The blast sent smoke billowing into the sky that could be seen from miles around the damaged factory. The explosion drew fire departments from throughout northeast Ohio. Former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan was granted protective bail by a court in the eastern city of Lahore on Monday. The bail provides him respite from arrest for 2 weeks in a case that involves charges under the country's anti-terrorism laws. Khan appeared before the Lahore High Court late in the evening along with hundreds of his supporters. The case pertained to alleged violence by supporters during demonstrations last year, which Khan is accused of inciting. He has a number of cases registered against him since being ousted from power last year in a parliamentary vote. India has set up a panel of officials to assess the impact of rising temperatures on the wheat crop. This came after country's weather office warned that above normal temperatures would prevail in key producing states. India's Agriculture Commissioner will head the committee, and officials from the country's key wheat growing states and government scientists will also be on the panel. Maximum temperatures in some states this week jumped to 39 degrees Celsius. This is 9 degrees Celsius above the normal temperature at this period of time. Water levels in Italy's Lake Garda have fallen to record lows. Satellite imagery released has shown the low water levels that have made it possible to reach the small island of San Biagio on the lake through an exposed pathway. Weeks of dry winter weather have raised concerns that Italy could face another drought after last summer's emergency. Environment experts say that Italian rivers and lakes are suffering from severe lack of water. Flooding and landslides triggered by torrential rain in Brazil has claimed at least 40 lives amid the carnival weekend. In the southeastern state of Sao Paulo, the cities of São Sebastião and Bertioga have been hit the hardest. Both cities have cancelled their carnival festivities. The rescue teams are struggling to find the missing, injured people amid the rubble. More than 700 people have been left homeless and over 1,700 have been evacuated. As per state reports, the rainfall surpassed 600 millimeters in one day. The carnival felt like a relief in Venezuelan capital on Monday as people put aside the country's economic woes to enjoy the event. Adults and children in fancy dresses took to the streets with foam cans and turned the city into a spume party. Under the slogan Peace and Joy, people took the holiday as a relief from the economic crisis hitting the Caribbean country. Despite a slight economic recovery last year, inflation reached 234% and cuts to electricity and water are common in the country. Tourists from Chile to Canada delighted themselves in Rio de Janeiro as dozens flocked to the streets to dance to the rhythm of the street party virtual music band. To the amusement of first-time foreign carnival goers, Rio's Carnival 2023 will run from February 17th to 25th. Experts hope that this year's carnival will help revive Rio de Janeiro's economy, which was deeply impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. The Brazilian government expects around 46 million people to attend the week-long festival across the country, in cities such as Salvador and Sao Paulo. Armed with hacksaws and shovels, over 2,000 people in Siberia participated in the 13th edition of the annual Igloo Building Festival. A new festival record was made this year, with 327 teams building 198 igloos. People decorated the igloos, which are built according to all the rules of the traditions, to recreate the atmosphere of indigenous people's life. The igloos are expected to remain in place for 2 to 3 weeks until March, when the temperature warms to above zero and igloos begin to melt.